Good morning, everyone. Um, it's actually very unusual now to be here to presenting to you all. So I'm actually very delighted to be here, and I'm very sure you're also very delighted to be here in the year 2020, basically. So I work at the Singapore University of Social Science. We're actually 15 years now, so that's why there's this 15 years logo sign. Okay, so it's still within the 15-year period. Okay, so what happened is the talk is about learning analytics to engage students' performance. Actually, I've done a paper on it, and I presented last year, but I don't want to focus too much on the learning analytics because from various speakers spoken all previously, data, you really need to have a lot of data in order to do to determine good results. Basically, there's a lot of work behind it. So, but having said that, I did do some work. I would like to share with you later on. So what happened is my agenda is as follows. I will just quickly tell you, Singapore University of Social Science. What happened is within SUSS, there's this department that I work in is called online learning. Okay, so what happened is from pedagogical point of view is that just like I'm talking about the faculty here, those of us who teach, all of us are very familiar with the face-to-face mode of teaching. In the year of 2020, things have definitely changed. Okay, but we realize face-to-face teaching does have its value, basically. Okay, but we don't talk about face-to-face anymore this year because of the pandemic, obviously. Okay, so, but having said that, our university, SUSS, have over time moved forward from face-to-face in terms of curriculum conversion, curriculum development, from face-to-face to blended e-learning to online learning. As it turns out, online learning, I mean, this year anyway, it's very, very popular. I mean, there's no way of learning other than online now. That's very sure, basically. Okay, so what I will tell you is just briefly our quick histories, and then I'll share with the audience what's our course delivery models, the course materials that we use, the assessments and the virtual office or the seminars that we do for online learning, that is. Okay, and then lastly I'll share with you the analytical results that I've done on blended learning and online learning. So our university's purpose is for lifelong learning. Okay, lifelong learning. So philosophies, head, heart, and habits. Now, this philosophy, we try our best to inform our students, tell our students, but at the same time, this message is also being informed to the faculty. So at the faculty, at the students, we learn to practice through head, hearts, and habit. So 15 years ago, we were known as the SIM University, the first private university to be set up in Singapore. 3 years ago, that was, okay. We were renamed to Singapore University of Social Science, SUSS, and now we're 15, as I said earlier. So we are one of the 6 autonomous universities in Singapore. So now I want to focus on the department I work in. It's called online learning. Now it was established in 2016. In fact, SUSS or UniSim before, we had a lot of, our vision was to focus or to prepare materials for e-learning, that was, okay? So without the materials that's available for e-learning, we can't really do online learning, okay, the reason is you really have to have the course materials available, that is, okay? I'm going to share with you what are these course materials, okay? So, and what happened is, at the moment anyway, for online learning, okay, uh, excluding the pandemic, okay, I mean, everything is teach online now, okay? So most of our students are under the business programs. They take either the face-to-face modules or the online modules. So they have two choices, okay? And, but as I said, everything is online now. And what happened is, in the data I'm going to share with you is how did the learning outcome was achieved, basically. The good news is the result was quite good, okay? But anyway, I'll just move on. So as far as online learning is concerned, the key issue is to train the instructors, okay, to teach online, that is. Okay? So, but having said that, when it comes to teaching, whether it's online or offline, it's to do with the individual, basically. Okay, so as the first speaker was speaking, spoke about teaching through the systems. Okay? How do you engage students and all that? So these are issues that we try our best to give our instructors the necessary training, but the rest is really up to the instructor, obviously. Okay, and I'll share with you some online tools, course materials, etc., etc. Now, I just want to focus something about the training of instructors this year, anyway. Okay, now because online learning department exists at NUSS, at SUSS, what happened was, in the middle of this year, now we at SUSS, we operate a 2-semester system, that is January and July, basically. Okay, so back in mid-2020, okay, suddenly everybody had to scramble to learn how to teach online. Okay, now what we're talking about now, okay, is very normal now. Okay, so everybody knows how to teach using Zoom, okay? But what I want to try to focus on was back in April, May time, okay? Literally about 100, roughly around 100 faculty members at SUSS, they actually came for training conducted by my colleague at Online Learning to train them how to teach online, okay? So thankfully, because online learning exists, and we were doing some work through online learning. Therefore, our faculty who are so familiar with face-to-face learning, the moment they need to teach online, of course, certain training has to be exist, okay? And because online learning exists, so therefore we share, okay, we share with the faculty together with the learning support, learning administration supports colleagues, the systems people, okay? Show them how to use Zoom, how to use breakout room, how to use poll, etc. Okay, so that in itself, I think, help us overcome the challenge that many of us are facing, basically. Okay, so so literally, what happened was to do online learning. Of course, our instructors have to be trained, but before, okay, before, we would invite them to face-to-face sessions for the training, okay, and then they do a practical sessions online, okay. But having said all that, because of the pandemic, the face-to-face is not here anymore. But the good news is we're here face-to-face because of this hybrid mode. Okay, so now the virtual learning tools that we have, okay, we use learning management systems, very friendly. It's called Canvas system, okay, and the synchronous learning, everybody's it's actually use Zoom, but what Zoom is actually a web conferencing systems that you use synchronously, okay, live, real time. Other systems such as Adobe Connect, Blackboard, these are systems that have been available before, but it just so happened that Zoom has, exploded this year. For the asynchronous format of learning, there's discussions and email. Now, discussions is very, very important for online learning because that will enable the instructors and the class to engage, basically, okay? It's only through engagement, through communications, and through sharing of knowledge. That's how, people learn, basically, okay? At the same time, as part of our e-learning development, we have many years of lectures that's been recorded, okay? So therefore, we have all these resources available after, over 10 years of work in order to have these systems and curriculum available. And then there's this tool called SmartPen, okay, that I've highlighted here. I just want to share with the class, with the audience, is that because I teach quantitative courses, okay, it's actually very awkward to, to show formulas and graph in real time and all that. And the nice thing is, with a SmartPen and SmartPaper, what happened is you can write it. I mean, you can write it real time, definitely, okay. But what I found is this tool actually, it allows you to, in sequence, in your presentation, you can show a question, okay, and then discuss about the questions, discuss about the formula, discuss about the issues. Then through the sequence, but still on a piece of paper, basically, you're able to show your graph, show your charts, and show the results as part of discussions, okay? So for quantitative courses anyway, I find this quite useful, okay? So in fact, it was the beginning of this year, the quantitative courses were rolled out for online learning. And that's why the online learning departments made available these tools for the instructors' use, basically. So I just want to share this with the audience here. Now, what happened was in 2018, okay, that was when online courses started. We started with 2 courses, okay, and students up to then, okay, they would take face-to-face and e-learning and then switch over to online learning. And the difference now is we have 18 courses online, but excluding the pandemic, okay, everything is online now. So so it's no big deal, basically, no big deal. But the real challenge is how to teach online and how to learn online. From my experience anyway, okay, it's very nice to see video showing, showcasing students' engagement and all that. In reality, that's very, very good, okay? But my own experience is that when you teach online, actually, the students don't like to turn on their camera, okay? But at SUSS anyway, we have the requirement that the instructors will definitely need to put your camera on, basically, okay? No matter how much we encourage the class, okay, students don't like for online. That's the issue, real issue we're facing, okay? So, but having said that, students learn, 2 semesters been completed, okay, and people's benefited, and we move on, basically, okay? So now, when it comes to the course materials, as well as the deliveries, our textbooks and our study guides are all electronics now. We call it e-textbook. Now, the difference between SUSS and the rest of other universities is that we provide textbook to our students, okay? We operate very much like an open university in that students receive the materials. Okay, in the past, everything was retrieved in printed copy, obviously. Okay, but with the e-textbooks that came on board, we let our students to use the e-version, which comes handy. Okay, the good news is they don't have to carry a lot of bulky materials. Okay, but at the same time, the discussion goes like this: some people don't like to read online. Okay, some people still like to read paper, basically. So these are the different challenges that we are facing. Okay, but anyway, as we move over time, most people gradually become used to it, basically. Now, the online seminars, we have it as 2 hours in Zoom, okay? But attendance is not required because our evening classes, okay, most of them are adult learners. So they come, they go, whether they want to come to lesson or not come to lesson, it's up to them to decide. The good news with Zoom is you have the recording, basically, okay? So that allows the lectures to be watched thereafter. So now, what happened is, I think 2 years ago, we engaged a company called VitalSource. They're actually the e-textbook providers so that our e-textbooks as well as our study guides are run through the platform. Now, VitalSource is, how should I put it? They help most of the publishers, worldwide publishers, Cengage, Wiley, etc., okay, to distribute course materials. And because we at SUSS, use all these publishers, that's why we had an engagement. We worked with VitalSource to have all these e-textbook become available. Now, my next slide. Sorry. Okay, this is it. Now, what happened is, this is an example of our study guide to the right and the textbook to the left. And you can read it from, they call this the e-reader. You can read it through mobile, you can read it through laptops, and you can read it through desktop, etc. So there's no issue with mobile learning, basically, okay? The medium is there for the learning. Now, when it comes to the chunk lectures that we created, the university created, they're accessed through the study guide. So when students read through the study guides, they can retrieve the chunk lecture as and when they need it. And now what's so useful is that VitalSource provides us with data. For the first time, we know how useful people have been doing when it comes to reading the materials. Up to now, okay, nobody knows the materials that we distribute, have they been used or not, okay? So the difference now is because data is available, so therefore in future, and even now, okay, we can analyze the data basically, okay? So the work I'm doing at the moment, anyway, okay, we're looking at, is there correlations between readership as well as performance, for example, okay? So this is just one of the projects. Another project would be to see how often do they read the e-textbook or read the study guide? Was it during exam time or before exam times or in between, basically, okay? So, from my initial analysis, from my observation anyway, okay, I think this goes around the world anyway. Students don't like to read books, okay? That's a fact, okay? Which it goes, the other way around to learning, okay? But that's the reality. But having said that, the data will tell us later on, okay? When we're analyzing a lot of data. So what I'm doing at the moment is, there's been 10 online courses that's been run the semester before, and I've been looking at what happened over these 10 online courses. does readership helps improvement? Okay, so anyway, so let's look at the work that I've done previously. Okay, so the two courses that were run, 2018, between blended e-learning and online learning. The good news is the charts to the red charts. Okay, they indicated the course assessments and they indicated the exams and project score. Okay, the good news is they're a bit up. So what it means is the transitions from e-learning to online learning has not impacted students' performance. Okay, now the key to note is students decide whether they want to take online or not online, basically. Okay, so this analysis that we did turns out that the results, turn out to be quite okay. Okay, at the same time, the other chart shows at-risk students. Okay, so from one semester to another semester, the data shows is good. It's not bad, basically. It's not the other way around, basically. Okay, so with data, you can't hide anything, basically. Okay, so so the good news is there's some good data to show. Okay, now this year the online learning departments has recruited what's known as success coaches. Now, success coaches are here to help students to learn online, that is, okay? Now, I'm just quoting my directive that says that to bring in the human elements for online learning, okay? So we don't, at SUSS or anywhere else, we don't have an idea what's the best or what's the worst way of learning. There's so many ways of learning, etc. Okay, but what we're trying to do is we want to bring the human elements into online learning so that our success coaches will be able to engage our students in a one-to-one format to help them understand what are the real issues. Because behind the screen, there will be, various issues. As I mentioned to you earlier, people don't like to turn on the camera when they learn online. Okay, so I'm not saying the camera is the issue or no issue, but there are many different factors. Another thing is that through online learning, SUS is able to engage international instructors. Okay, what I mean by international instructor is last semesters. Okay, we have an instructor from Belgium. Okay, and very soon we'll have, this coming semester, we'll have another instructors that will be based in Australia that will help us to bring in the international level to help us to engage our students learn online. Okay, so and then just to summarize, basically, okay, for SUS anyway, okay, we knew online learning would be required. We knew it many years ago. We knew it, okay? But it has taken us a long time for us to reach, where we are, okay? So as I said, 2016, the online learning department became available. But because of the pandemic, online learning, is here now. So the question that we're going to ask the instructors and students is, does online learning work or not? Don't work, okay? Before, okay, there'll be lots of various reasons to say yes, no, different, asynchronous or not synchronous, okay? But in the year of pandemic, we had to scramble in order to be able to teach and learn online. That's reality, basically, okay? So we can't, get away from reality. So now, as I said, 10 years in the making to prepare our materials from e-learning to online learning. What happened is, where we are now is that, as far as SUS is concerned, our infrastructure is ready, okay? Because we write the course materials. We actually put the course material to VitalSource platform, and we provide e-materials, and we have, a series of lecture recordings, plus the online activity that students do online. And at the same time, over time, many of our face-to-face instructors are trained to teach online. Of course, initially, they're not comfortable. Nobody's comfortable doing something new, basically. But over time, I think, we are trying to do something that's is not different anymore these days, okay? So I think SUSS believes that online learning offers an alternative form of learning and teachings for our students and instructors, that is. So, so that's a summary, basically. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chung, about sharing with us SUSS experiences with online learning, and especially through the pandemic. Do we have any questions?
Hello.
Thanks, Dr. Yong. That was very interesting to
Thank
share
you.
with us
Thank
your journey. We have two questions here. Well, first one is regarding the digital smart pen. You mentioned that you developed this yourself.
Oh no, the smart pen we did not develop ourselves. Okay, it's just a tool that we use. The tool is called LiveScribe. Okay, so that allows you to write to a piece of paper. They call it smart paper. It's actually real paper, actually.
Okay.
And that paper is Bluetooth connected to the computer. So when you write on the paper appears onto the screens, and that screen can show it
Okay.
to
So
the
you
audience.
just have to buy the accessory.
Yeah, it's just an accessory,
Okay,
basically,
right,
okay?
Thank
The
you.
other one is called Wacom Ituos, okay? That is quite nice, okay? What it does is it allows you to write I'm going to show it to you here, okay? The last part, the bottom part, okay? That is actually very nice because it allows you to write directly to Microsoft products, basically. You can write to Excel, Word, PPT. That's what artists use, basically. So it's very good to write. Yeah.
Thank you. The second question is regarding your sharing on the vital source analytics.
Yes.
And you found a correlation that it does improve the online performance, the
Yes.
grades with
Yes.
more reading of those two modules, right?
Yes.
So the question is, it sounds quite intuitive to expect that if you spend more time to
Yeah.
read that you achieve a better score.
Yes.
The question then would be, would this kind of finding differ across the different subjects or modules? Because some modules may be difficult to achieve that. And also whether it boils down to the learning design of the textbooks or study guides
Sure,
that could
sure.
impact on
Okay.
that.
Okay, very good question, Miss. Thank you very much. Now, I don't have the full results. Okay, I'm just going through, what data I've observed so far. Okay, now, to answer your question, different type of courses, the 10 courses that I look at: marketing, organizational behavior, statistics, quantitative methods. So it's this combination of both, basically. So what it goes to show is that, okay, some students don't like to read e-textbook, or some students don't like to read the study guide. But at the same time, they perform quite okay. On the other hand, the effect is also applied on the other way. Okay, so the results I've seen so far. Okay, but as I said, I've not concluded the study yet. Okay, so it's actually turned out to be actually very useful study because the data is available, basically. Okay, so the conclusion so far is that if you read well, you're able to do well. Okay, so what I can share with the class is that, sorry, with the audience is that it's actually very true from the data. So the good news is it shows that if you read well, you will be able to study better. basically. So that's all I can say. Thank you.
Dr. Yang, we have a question online. Will you read it for us and then?
Yeah. How often do you have to update chunk lectures? Okay. What happened is because we run our seminars is SUSS has 2 seminar system, January, July. Okay. Of course, we can't update chunk lecture that often. Okay. But because we have a department called ETP, Education Technologies and Production Departments, that's been existed since SUSS or UNISIM was set up. We actually provide a lot of support to help our instructors as well as our faculty to update the chunk recorded lectures as and when. But on the other hand, another way of looking at this is in Zoom, basically, if you just talk about the synchronous version of the learning, okay, lectures updated every day anyway. Every time you have a Zoom session anyway. So, but the chunk recorded lectures, we do it, if not one semester, but definitely within a year. Basically, we try to update as often as we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. As we're out of time, but thank you very much for your presentation
Okay,
and sharing with us USS experiences.
Thank you very much. Thank you.